And Mark is in his office, isn't he? Are you in your office?
Yeah, I'm actually in my office, yeah.
You weirdo.
I'm gonna reach around and get something behind me.
My office at One Penn Plaza, they just sent a note about an hour ago that said, because people kind of go in, there's not very many people in this 1,000-person office, there's like 50 people. They closed it down. You can't go in as of an hour ago because of COVID. Someone had COVID in the office, and just out of abundance of caution, they said they're not. Anyway.
Well, there was so many warnings today. The governor said, don't go to New Jersey and don't go to Connecticut.
Well, don't go to New Jersey. Why would you?
Well, that's true. And don't do any Thanksgiving plans, and just don't do anything indoors. Just be smart.
Be smart.
New Jersey's governor is quarantining.
Yeah, he's quarantining himself. Yeah. Wear a mask. I mean, just everyone be safe, be smart, wear a mask.
All right, we are live.
Okay.
Begin whenever you want.
Hi, everybody. Okay. Good evening. Molly Hollister here, Chair of Manhattan Community Board 6. It is October 21st, 2020, and we are holding the monthly executive committee meeting. It's 6:32 p.m. And I'm joined tonight by Jesus Perez, our district manager. And Jesus, is there anyone else that's from the office on the call?
You've got just me today.
Okay, great. Okay, awesome. And Seema Shah is our secretary, and Seema will be taking the minutes and taking the attendance. So I'll let you take it away.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. If you could please just let me know if you're here by, unmuting yourself and saying you're present. That'd be great. Kyle Antide.
Present.
Asia Badi.
Present.
Beatrice Desmond. Don't see B.
Oh, B is celebrating her birthday. She had an early dinner and she's going to be a little late, but she said she's at dinner. But yeah.
Sing to her.
So yeah. Her birthday was yesterday, so sorry.
Molly Hollister.
Here.
John Keller.
Here.
Kavitha Matthew.
Here.
Claire Brennan.
I'm here.
I'm here. Adam Hartke.
Here.
Corinne Vanderdonk. I don't see her.
I'm here on behalf of Corinne.
Okay. Brian Van Nieuwenhoven.
Present.
Pam Vassell.
I'm here.
Claude Winfield. I see.
Did you call me?
I did.
Present.
And Rick Eggers.
Here.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you. So and then the next item is to adopt the agenda, and you were all sent the agenda. I don't know if Jesus is going to pop it up on the screen.
There it is.
If there are any objections, go ahead and raise your hand. But if not, all right. Seeing none, we'll adopt the agenda for tonight. And then the next item is adopting the September meeting minutes, September 16th. And if there are any objections, all right, seeing none, those we'll adopt those minutes. And so let's see. So what is the agenda for tonight? I know we have all this ground rule information, but I think you all know how to behave, mute yourself when you're not speaking, and you can raise your hand with the raise hand function and so on. So we are taking, this is being recorded, so behave yourselves. And the first item is my chair's report. So this is my last executive committee meeting as chair. So I'm sad, I'm relieved, and all those things all in one, bittersweet, as I said at the full board. But I do want to congratulate the new board officers, Kyle and Mark, Sandro. I think Sandro's not here, is he? Seema and so on. So and Brian is there. I think we're missing a few of you, but yeah, just congratulations. And I know we're still going to be a great team, and I'm still here, so I'm not going anywhere. And I know I'm kind of get easily embarrassed, but I know I accomplished a lot. We accomplished a lot these last 3 years, and I'm really proud of it. And I get emotional, so I won't talk about too much, but I just want to continue to focus on the things we've been focusing on: open space and making sure our waterfront is safe and accessible, and all the things that transportation issues are really important to me, and I know to the board. So anyway, I'll stay on exec, and I'll stay on a few committees, and I'll still be here. I did want to just say that I'm finalizing the budget narrative for Rick, so I'm working on that. There are a lot of, speaking of the waterfront, I frantically wrote hopefully not too alarmist, but I was just walking down by the water club yesterday afternoon, and Jean had mentioned there's a sinkhole down there right by the water club and the FDR exit at 34th, but we have 4 sinkholes in that area now, 4 sinkholes. So just to alert every committee, by the way, but there's that one there. There's another one right by the ferry, which is maybe not a sinkhole, but just a drainage issue. There's one, there's one right by the heliport, and there's one in Glick Park. So although we're getting this great resiliency project below 24th, we really need to focus above, and and hopefully it doesn't all slide into the river. I don't think that's going to happen, but anyway, we be aware of that. And there are all sorts of safety issues around there, just with all the different conditions with the traffic and foot traffic, bikes and so on. So again, for transportation, land use, a lot of different committees, parks are affected by that. So I guess that's it for now. And within each of your committee reports, I might chime in if you don't touch on a few things, but I'll move the agenda to the district manager's report. Jesus?
Hello, everyone. All right, I'll keep my report very brief today. I just want to mention that we have been seeing increased participation and attendance, virtual attendance in our meetings, and because the office has been trying to do increase its efforts to let the community know about what meetings are coming up and what's on the agenda. And you guys have been doing a great job at having very interesting things on your agendas. And when people sign up, we give them the option of signing up for our newsletter there and then. And so we've seen a 5% increase in newsletter subscribers in the past week and 10% in the past month. So we're doing good, and we're trying to really get more notice paid to the work that City 6 is doing. As a quick minutes update for BASA, we understand that Dan Devine is drafting the August minutes and that Susan is drafting the September minutes. So we do need to get those minutes in. Parks, you are up to date with your minutes. Transportation, you are up to date with your minutes. For housing, Claire is writing the May minutes, and for the joint meeting, and the June minutes are pending a vote next week. And Abby wrote the minutes for September's meeting, and they will be adopted in November. And Anjou will write the minutes for the October meeting. So we've got a lot of minutes circulating there. For land use, Jim is writing the minutes from September. For health, we are missing the minutes from the May joint meeting with housing. So we'll follow up with those. And Phil is writing the minutes from the September, late September meeting. And budget is up to date, and 197A, Wells is writing the October minutes. And if she's in, happy belated birthday to B, and happy belated birthday also to Rick, whose birthday was a week and a half ago. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Oh yeah, you guys are watching my cat. I just saw it in the chat. She likes me. So we'll move to the committee reports, and the first one is transportation and public safety. Claire and Matt.
Yes, so it's a pretty light agenda coming up, and also I'll tell this group, a lot of folks do know this already, but I work for DOT, and we thought that we kind of worked something out to be able to have me serve as chair. And it looks like it is no good. So I actually submitted like a resignation yesterday because it was something that I had to do. I love my job.
Just to your committee chair,
you all.
not to the board,
Yes.
not to the board. Okay.
No, sorry. Yes. And I'm still able to be a part of the transportation committee. So that's fine. But we had a light agenda. This came up because something, a presentation about City Bike kind of overlaps with my work. So I think that we might be able to push this to December, the City Bike presentation, and just cancel the meeting for this month.
Yeah.
But Molly, I don't know if you have something to
No,
add.
I was just going to say, I don't know if there are any items on the other items on the agenda, if Matt had anything, but the City Bike, that expansion discussion, DOT said that can wait. It's not urgent. They were just planning on coming, but that can wait. So we could do that until we kind of regroup, and then Kyle and I are meeting up on Friday. So we'll kind of coordinate some of that change, and he needs to find a new chair for business activities and street affairs. We have a lot of transitional conversations, but yeah, Matt, do you have anything?
Not at this point. I mean, I was trying to get the police to do some introductions, but given that it's the night before election day, there's a lot of protest potential, so that date is not looking good at this point. So if we keep the meeting, we might be able to do something last minute, but there's a good chance we won't. But I'm good with canceling it at this point.
Yeah, and just about the Regional Plan Association, Anne and Sandy had been in contact with them, but they haven't responded to like a request I put and gave them a few weeks ago. So I think that, we're in agreement that it can be canceled.
Yeah. So if there are no objections, well, yeah, we can. And again, Kyle, as Kyle is November 1st start date for his role. I mean, I don't know. I feel like but I think that makes sense to move that to just to December and cancel that meeting.
So we'll make that change, and the agenda, a note that the meeting is canceled for November, and we'll move this over for December's agenda, proposed agenda. Actually, one thing I did forget to mention, I'm sorry that we made a little bit of error. We forgot to put Matt's name on the roll call sheet. So let the record show that Matt is a member of exec and that he is present, and we will amend our records. My apologies for that.
Is that Matt Roberts or Matt Bondi?
Matt Roberts.
Oh, okay.
Matt Bondi isn't a member of exec until November 1st.
Oh, thank you. All right. Hi, Matt. Both Matts. Can one of you be Matthew or Matt B or Matt R? All right. So Pam Bassel, Parks, Landmarks and Cultural Affairs.
Okay, so as you see before you, hold on. As you see before you, we will have a certificate of appropriateness. So that will be a presentation. We have the continued discussion about, hold on a second, what happened here? About,
I made it bigger, does that help?
no, make it smaller, please.
Okay, my apologies, there we go.
That's okay. No, something else just popped up. That's why that happened. Okay, sorry. So we have hopefully the finish of the St. Barton's playground discussion, and Steve Simon will be there with his crew, and I believe they're going to bring sketches or finished sketches, and hopefully it will be voted on, and then Ronnie will be able to write the reso. That's what we're hoping. We'll see what happens. But I think it's pretty much at the point where we're ready to rock and roll. I think it's important at this meeting to have a discussion about the East 36th Street application, so that once again, we reinforce with the St. Barton's group that they need to get involved with that, because we need whatever support we can have to get that street open. Then prior to the report by Wesley for the Department of Parks and Recreation, I'll send him an email asking him to please discuss the 4 sinkholes. And we'll see what he has to say, and he'll give us an update. He didn't do one last time because it was such a long meeting.
And you know, Pam, I think that what the sinkholes only one of them are parks. The other three are EDC, DEP, possibly New York State DOT. You know, they're not. I mean, I don't know who's responsible. That's the problem.
Well,
That's
the thing is, they might be responsible. I feel like we should mention it.
Oh, yeah,
And-
absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
You know, but someone has to send me a list of what they are because I don't have that list of all the sinkholes.
I'll send you pictures.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Okay.
And then there'll be a chairs report and old and new business and that's it, folks.
And Pam, for your third agenda item, the open street application, you'd like us to invite perhaps Sandy from the transportation committee?
Yeah, someone who can discuss it, that would be great because I know there'll be questions. And I think if you would ask Sandy to bring sort of or to suggest some next steps so that the group knows what they can do. I mean, if petitions would help, then maybe that's something that we need to encourage this group to do. If there are other things, let's do it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Kavitha, 197A.
Yep. Okay, so we are going to be discussing the website status, which has been, I think, a little bit stalled, but I am going to get things hopefully up and running again once we check in with Wells and Brian and anybody else who needed to finalize some information on there. We do really want to get this going quickly because it's our method for outreach and also just for updated status. Speaking of which, our next agenda item is going to be my giving some updates from the MSBI task force meeting last week, which I attended and was pretty vocal at. We don't have anything, really specific to say other than they're rethinking everything. So
Wow.
yeah, they're rethinking everything is what they said. There were some updates on other things too, like the opioid clinic around the corner from me on 25th and 2nd is going to be shutting down. And they gave some more explanation around that. But in terms of the MSBI larger parcels and the sale, everything's still on the table. They're looking at all sorts of options in terms of, what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. They've been delayed, we think, a few months. They're saying, it's not going to be years, it's going to be months, but I want to kind of get ahead of that and get a lot of community outreach going before that, be able to update anything that they have onto our website and just keep the neighborhood and the community aware of what's going on. Asya, did you have something?
Yeah, so the opioid clinic, we've talked about this. Is that the one that's underneath your build, like near your building?
Yeah, it's right downstairs, and it was just coincidental that this is the one. They had an audit that happened recently, I guess. I don't understand. I wrote down a lot of notes so I can share them with you.
And that's okay, thanks.
Yeah, but the audit led to some kind of discrepancy that added up to a $400 discrepancy that was
I can give you a
extrapolated.
brief update.
Sorry?
I can give you a brief update.
Well, I mean, I know it. I think they said that that $400 turned into basically $4 million of fine, right? So they extrapolated it across everything of all the clinics and all the treatment centers, which is ridiculous. And I believe for financial reasons and other reasons, the lease was coming up on this particular property soon. So they decided to abandon that and reassign. And they said they're in the process of assigning all the clients, and they're doing okay with that. They don't think it's going to be, they're upset about it. It's not a huge overhaul, but they're saying that this audit process, in their view is really flawed. And the same thing's probably going to happen to other providers, that they were kind of picked on first, but this could happen to others. So I did want to, connect with the health committee on this and what's going on.
Yeah, Kavitha, is this the clinic that had we had the people in?
It is. I mean, it's basically downstairs from my building or around the corner. Yeah, we had some issues. I mean, just speaking as a tenant of a building.
That was a good meeting. I mean,
yeah, I mean, but the thing is, we had actually made progress,
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Right. So it has nothing to do with that. It just coincidentally, and who knows what's going to go there once if they're able to sell it or lease it. I mean, they've gotten out of the lease, but who knows what's going to go there by the owners? I don't know. So that's
So was your group, the meeting last week, the task force meeting, was that mostly about the CB3
Yeah,
pieces of?
yeah, it was interesting. The task force meeting, they actually started with a kind of general update of where they were based on COVID and, you know, everything that's happened to their hospital and services as a result, their financial kind of, you know, just real impact of that. And they started with this, this clinic to talk about that piece, but then they moved on to the larger parcels, the MSBI site that we're focused on with our 197A committee. And they really just told us what Brad Korn had said before, that their real estate division is going back to the drawing board on everything. I mean, based on things they know now in terms of being able to scale up for some other event like this, but also understanding that they've had a lot of success with telehealth and other ways of providing treatment when possible. So maybe, you know, I think those things will kind of weigh upon each other in terms of how much space, what they need to allocate. They are moving forward with their downtown. I don't have my notes in front of me, but the clinic that they're already putting in place for Lower East Side is all moving forward. That piece is all coming together, but I will have a much more in-depth report at the 197A meeting. And one other thing they mentioned was they do a health kind of like status survey, I guess, every few years, a report that they put together. And they were actually saying they're open to having individuals or groups be part of that survey process. So it's something that I'm going to try to find out the timing. I know they wanted to release this report, I think, end of the year or beginning of 2021. I'm going to find out how much time we have and if it's something we could actually put on that one on the Perlman Place MSBI web page that we've put together. It would be good. It would be a good way to kind of, you know, outreach to communities and say, you can take the survey, and in addition to like our information.
And our website too, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully that's why I want to kind of get the website thing going. And I have a lesson in Trello coming up with Cody this Friday because I need to keep things on task for this, knowing the timing. Okay. And we have a lot of people, a lot of hands kind of working on it. So that should get moving. And then we are going to touch again on the outreach plans and the community plan. Letty's done a good amount of work on kind of framing some things out. So we'll put that together with a timeline as well. A proposed timeline for what we'd like to do, who we'd like to reach out to and when. And then we, last committee meeting, we talked about remapping of the 3 streets. It was 16th, 26th, and 30th streets, which were demapped or like decommissioned, and the advantages and disadvantages and likelihoods even of those things. So we'd like to kind of investigate those further. And then the next agenda piece is really discussion of cross-committee opportunities. And hey, Adam, I wrote this before you sent me an email about cross-committee opportunities, so we're all thinking the same thing. 197A touches upon so many other groups, including land use, obviously, health, including health and education pieces, and including housing, right? And there's opportunities there to connect with each of those. And I'd like to make sure we have a representative from each of those committees on our working group moving forward, and that we have a kind of constant communication and flow going so we can just be able to leverage anything we're doing in, you know, something like George Jane's or DCP or any kind of outreach we're doing to find out about things. I think we can work collaboratively on that. And that's it. And then chair's report, old and new business.
Okay, Rick has his hand up first, and then Pam.
Well, Kavitha, I was glad you mentioned the committee opportunities there, because the report that you mentioned that is done every 2 or 3 years, I think it is, it's cyclical in any event. In previous years, they have sometimes made assertions that the community supports X, Y, or Z, and they did not consult us.
Right.
They took it from someplace else. So whoever does it, and it sounds maybe it would be more appropriately landing in health than it would be in 197A.
Exactly.
but y'all can work that out. But
Oh, I'm happy to handle
it's
it.
something to really keep on top of, because they play a little fast and loose on, they say that they've consulted and they haven't done proper consulting. There's also, I guess, Claude, is there still a cab for
There's still a cab, and they actually had Susan and Karen and myself do part of the survey with them.
Oh, most recently?
Yes.
Okay. Good, because that's progress.
Yeah, but they need to do more. They need to reach out specifically to CB6.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. All right, Pam.
Oh, can I just a couple of quick things before Pam? I just wanted to say, I forgot to mention, yes, I agree with that, Rick, on the report. I do think they're probably missing pieces, and it seems like this seems to be happening really quickly to the point where I don't know how much we can weigh in, which is a problem.
It happens. Yeah.
Right, and the last thing was they are kind of reassessing. I think Jeremy Unger from Carlina's office asked about reassessing the con with the DOH, the state level. And they are even reassessing that. So we have some opportunity there. I said that we are really clearly want CB6 to be considered as part of this overall plan for moving services out of our community. You know, we know it's moving into CB3, but you know, here we are, right, left with a dirge of services and an opportunity to get something we actually hopefully want in our community, not just the highest bidder. Who knows?
Yeah.
So
We've been talking to them for the longest time, so I know they know that, but we just need to stay on them, like, seriously.
I'm sorry, then Pam, you had something?
And in keeping, is it my turn? I can speak now? Wait.
Yes.
Okay.
For Kavitha.
In keeping with the cross-committee opportunities, I'd like to suggest that maybe the new members be appointed to those community boards that are contiguous to ours, and they go to some of those meetings, because I think there's a lot of stuff that happens there that really pertains to us. I mean, for example, the bid certainly is doing they're expanding their territory, and there are also interesting things about crime and stuff like that. I think the other community boards would be really worthwhile for someone to sit on, to just know what's going on.
Well, we do that, you know, so my role as chair, Kyle's role as chair will be to, you communicate with all those other, you know, chairs of all the other community boards. And so we really talk to them a lot and keep in, you know, are on the issues, but also Jesus and the office staff work with their staff. So we're aware of those issues. And then we always have someone on the bids. I mean, you're on that bid, but so we have a lot of touch points, I think. But yeah, if anyone wants to ever go to another community boards meetings, I mean, I you know, that one more meeting, I don't know if people are dying to do that, but it's never a bad idea to see how they're run.
Maybe for the newbies, it would be a good thing to see how others work.
Yeah. All right. Kavitha, are you good? Okay.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Oh, Rick. Rick is next for budget.
Okay. The district needs statement is due at the end of the month. As Molly was mentioning at the very beginning, she has the big piece, the narrative that she's reviewing now. Jesus is providing some of the explanations, or I made some revisions to some of the explanations. He's editing and entering them in the Airtable information. We will get everything done by the end of the month. So we're on kind of a time schedule, but the office has been extremely supportive and their efforts are much appreciated. As far as the agenda goes, the last regular meeting that we had went, well, let's just call it a little long. So I'm not going to do that again. And I really just want to focus on how we can use this district needs statement and all the work that's gone into it throughout the year. And that's to be one of the things I'm going to be talking about is whether people on the committee what committees they belong to, what they're comfortable taking on as far as keeping the budget committee up to date, seeing what progress is being made on achieving the priorities, seeing what new things have come up during the year so that we don't get that push at one time, and that somebody can just pick it up at the end of the time frame and know what needs to go into the document. It doesn't have to keep hounding people. It could be a pretty good, I think it could be a pretty good management tool, but I'll leave that to Kyle, how he wants to handle that. But it's something that I think we can use some of these things more, and I just would like to give it a shot. So we're going to talk about how the members of the committee see that happening or not, and then maybe we have some other things that people aren't as much aware of about where they get information and that kind of thing. I wouldn't be averse to at some point during the year having a board-wide forum on where some of this information is located, to make sure everybody knows what resources are available to them. I think sometimes we forget how much is available online now. We were pushing it for so many years, and now we have a lot of things available, and they're not being referred to. So that's something we want to talk about, whether that's something we want to do as well. But I do intend to try to keep this meeting very short, maybe 30 minutes, get it started, and then we'll probably take a break in December and pick up again in January.
Okay,
That's
great.
it.
Thanks, Rick. All right, so next up is housing, Enrichments, housing, homeless, and human rights.
Yes. So we have a bunch of stuff stacked up because the last two meetings ago, we did this big open forum on homelessness. And then this past week, we had a full agenda. So as of right now, we have two presentations lined up. Number two is the most significant because it's a presentation on the new homeless shelter coming to the Renwick, which has some neighborhood opposition. So we are going to ideally be able to manage that in a way that keeps the meeting from being disrupted. We have in the number one position a long postponed presentation by Good Shepherd, which is runs an what do you call it, intake shelter on East 17th Street, and we've been meaning to have them in for a while.
For teens, right? For teens?
Yes. We're thinking of
some of our ACS kids come there. That's what we know too. That they'll go to Good Shepherd, which I'm curious to see how much of back and forth is there.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to have them come. We were going to have them come earlier. We do have one resolution possibly to be discussed, which is the Community Opportunity Purchase Act, which is about enabling local institutions and stakeholders to buy to have right of first refusal to buy residential buildings. I think we have someone preparing a resolution on this. Oh, I can't remember because it's from 2 meetings ago.
Jeff Zellen, perhaps?
Yes, okay. This is the thing Jeff Zellen is working on. You know, we have the possibility to do another. No, actually, we probably will have the resolution on Community Board 10's Exonerated 5 exhibit for this month's full board, so that will already be covered.
That was a great presentation they gave. That was really very thorough.
Yeah, it's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, it was yes, but it was really like special. I mean, it would be nice just to digest it separately, and I think Cody asked for that to have it available for online at our site, so we can have people be able to share that. And Rich, you guys did a great job at the meeting on Monday night. That was very well handled. I don't think, I know people still wanted to be heard and they can come back to the other meeting. There was some miscommunication, right? I mean, somebody had said it was going to be on our agenda, the Renwick item, and it was not. So, yeah. Corinne's here too. I just saw that she's here. But yeah, I think you guys did a great job. And I mean, all the committees, when we have issues like that, it's, you want people to be heard, but I think some of the people just wanted to know why it was there, the questions So, but core is coming and DHS is coming for that meeting. So it looks like it'll be well covered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. All right. Is it anything else?
Nope.
Okay. So then exec is November 18th, and BASA.
Yep. So as of now, agenda is in formation. We've again been seeing some uptick in the number of applications for renewals and then just new operating license as well, which is encouraging. So hopefully we see more in November as well. We have something scheduled this month about a presentation on decriminalizing sex work. So if there's any follow-up, we'll do more presentations on that in the following months as well.
Okay, thank you. Land use, Adam.
It looks like Rick would like the floor.
Oh, Rick.
Can I just, this sex workers resolution has been bothering me. Because it's been, you've been talking about it for a long time. And the thing that I'm getting concerned about is that some of our resolutions are not being framed in ways that they apply necessarily to our district. And I mean, the big issues, like, for example, in the last meeting, there were two things that nobody's going to be against. Nobody's going to be against theaters. What was lacking in the resolution was how it impacts theaters in our district. And I think that in something like sex workers, I'm a little concerned that it makes it look like we're going after the wrong topics for public consumption. Whether it's a valid point or not, it's just a question for me of whether the community board should be putting this as a priority. And I just wanted to throw out that comment because I've been thinking about it for a long time.
Can I respond?
Well,
Sure.
Kyle, yeah.
I was going to provide some context, but if Pam has a comment, she can go ahead.
Well, I just want to say that, you know, there are lots of sex workers. When the hotel was opened on my corner, they were busy as hell every night, and there was a lot of action in cars and what have you. I mean, I think they're all over the city, and I think that we don't even know how much activity is going on, and I think it's a really important resolution.
So to provide further context and clarification, there is no resolution in formation. This is merely presentation and information gathering. So we've reached out to an organization called Decrim NY, which has done a lot of advocacy work. A couple of our elected officials have actually put out legislation, which is, we're not really sure what the status is on that. So to kind of follow up on that and to just kind of hear what their priorities are, their strategies. The ACLU also just recently put out a report on it as well. Some of the questions that you're asking are important, and that's part of the presentation as well, is that there's actually kind of hard to find data on this particular 2-hour district, which is another part of the conversation, because it is illegal right now. And so it's kind of hard to figure out how exactly it is impacting this district in particular, whether it is the number of workers or the number of customers. There have been issues in the past that even preceding me on the board that I read through the media of, you know, locations throughout the district that were then under police surveillance or, you know, then shut down because of such operations. So this is information gathering. There is no resolution on it. Our committee is there to ask those questions and then to determine if there is a potential resolution going forward. But particularly with everything that's going on with the health pandemic, there were a lot of people who were affected by this economically, who lost their economic means, who didn't have access to healthcare, and then even some public benefits because this is not considered an occupation. So we want to hear from these organizations that have been advocating from it, which includes the ACLU, just to get information on it.
So I just want to add one other thing, which is that what you could do is ask people on your committee who have dogs, because they're out there walking their dogs. They see everything that's going on. and they would be good anecdotal information gathering.
Sure, yeah. Anybody who wants to attend, whether they're walking dogs or not, is absolutely free to attend and provide their perspective on it as well. I mean, part of this is also that it is a taboo subject. So people might not be willing to talk about it, but it does affect particularly people of color. And we just want to make sure that we're staying on top of issues that could be of importance to our district.
I hear what Rick's saying. I mean, I think that we have done that before. We've strayed from issues that are actually within our district, or that are, concerns that are issues that are within our district. And I think, every committee should keep that in mind.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for the feedback on the resolutions, I think something that could have made it sharper now in retrospect is to highlight the specific theaters within our district. Because as we kind of know, from our own experiences, that there are theaters and comedy clubs and other independent venues. So definitely in any future resolutions, I'll incorporate that feedback to pinpoint specific ways it affects our district.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
It looks like Rick is requesting the floor again.
I'm sorry, just one last thing. I appreciate that very much, Kyle. And I'm not saying that there isn't sex work going on in our district. There is. But the fact that you're and the fact that you're doing information gathering is fine. I think we have to just be a little bit more careful about what we're presenting to the community as of interest to the community board.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this issue is on the edge. I understand where you're coming from. I think getting information is always useful. But if we haven't had anything about small businesses and we haven't done a survey of small businesses. We don't know who's in trouble. Is there some way we can get information to them? If we go too far away from our central mission as a community board to items that are that the community doesn't understand why we're looking at, then I think we can be faulted. But the information gathering, fine. The way you've described it, Kyle, comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, yeah, obviously the summer was when we were doing all of that, connecting with restaurant associations and small businesses. And obviously a lot of resolutions came out of that. So we're continuing to stay in touch with them and, check up on how outdoor dining is working and with this indoor capacity and everything. So we're doing, we are making sure that we're doing everything at once. So. Mm-hmm. Thank you. No, but that's constructive feedback. I do appreciate that.
And thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then now, do we have a new date for that committee? Is that the November 19th is a new date?
That's the rescheduled date.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay, because that's not, when is Thanksgiving? The 26th?
It would be the 26th.
Yeah. 26th. Okay, got it. All right. So Adam, for land use.
Hi, everybody. So for the November meeting, we essentially have two items. The first one is DCP is going to come and give a pretty lengthy presentation about their new resiliency text amendment. And so they've distributed materials already to us and issued a series of press releases and materials. So I'll go ahead and forward that to the committee. They're looking for a resolution and they're looking to sort of move that process along. The second item is for 343 Madison Avenue. This was held over from a few committees ago. This group is now ready to present to us. And then just the general standing items, the standing updates for ESCR, and that's that. For the meeting coming up on Monday, it's actually gonna be a lot. It's to echo the theme of the evening. It's gonna, in theory, be pretty light. We were hoping to have a conversation about MIH and sort of the state of the district. However, discussing amongst Sandy and as Kavitha said earlier, we're looking to sort of do some more cross-pollination amongst the various groups regarding this issue. So us chairs are hopefully going to talk in the near future and sort of map out strategies and those sorts of things to how to sort of direct our committees to focus on these very important issues, to where we're sort of on a united front, as a community board. So since this committee meeting is actually going to be pretty light, Molly, we're hoping to sort of amplify those sinkhole issues at our meeting to sort of maybe do something about it. Maybe issue sort of a reso or kind of work to a reso, a larger reso that potentially could be passed in November.
Great. And then I also had this on my notes, the DDC MFM construction project, the water main project.
Yes.
Their staging areas, and they're taking up a lot of the street and even like the big chunk of the service road where there's some trees and bushes growing in there at 33rd and 2nd Avenue. I mean, it's just it's a neglected staging area. They haven't used it in a long time. So I think we need to stay on them, and I guess that's maybe a service issue with the office, but I'll just copy you and maybe even transportation committee too.
That'd be great.
And then the office is trying to reschedule that DOT DDC meeting
Right.
for the 2nd Avenue. I think again, the DOT is still trying to figure it out. There's some timing issues, but it's at October, right? October start for the protected bike lane, but I think this project is in the way. Most of this project is moved over to 1st Avenue right now, and I don't know if they plan on, but if it's in 1st Avenue, there would be no reason to put the 2nd Avenue protected bike lane in.
Right. Well, on their social media, they released something, I think, on their Twitter and potentially Instagram pages that the 2nd Avenue fixes are coming soon. It's not just to us anymore. They released their sort of 4-box thing. So I don't know what that means.
That was like over a week ago, though, right?
Right.
That was a while ago. Yeah.
Right. But it seems to be when they do that, that's sort of them firing the gun for the races to begin. So I'm hopeful. Well, excuse me, I'm going to remove all adjectives. It just exists.
Yeah.
It just exists.
Well, we'll just keep pushing them. We'll just keep pushing them.
Adam, just to be clear, agenda item number 2 on 343 Madison Avenue is still tentative. They might be ready for November. There is a possibility that they'll have to push this over to December.
Okay. Yes. So then that's fine. Well, actually, so that's a whole other issue. Our slated December meeting, I think, is like the 30th or 31st or something along those lines. So I think I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And I just remembered that this is going to be interesting because I'll be in Cincinnati. So that Monday, so you'll live from the Queen City, 6.
So your November meeting will remain on the 23rd.
Yeah, I mean, I'll poll the committee to see if there is an issue, and if there is, we can potentially move it. But
all right, if you'd like, Cody can easily send a poll to your committee, and would you like us to do that?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it. I'll touch base on them tomorrow to send something out because potentially it could be an issue. It's a tricky time, but except for I guess I don't know how many of us potentially will be traveling or potentially inconvenienced. So maybe this will be the most opportune time to have it. Who knows? So we'll poll the committee. I'm sorry, I forgot one last item. There's another item that I'm hoping to sort of touch base on in the committee. There's a lot of sort of movement that's going on with the SoHo and the NoHo rezonings to the south of our district. As this develops more, we're hoping to sort of ask DCP more about this to get a better understanding, and particularly like what exactly is going on down there, and if there's any sort of lessons learned or any applicability to our district as well. So that's just something we're hoping to be mindful of as a committee.
Will you please keep housing informed about that, because we're also.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
all the committees, right? I mean, there are a lot of issues around, and I think there are several areas that we've kind of somewhat identified, and with city electeds that they've identified are areas that could be slightly upzoned. And I know that's a dirty word, but to add, a little, there's some empty buildings, empty storefronts that probably could use, a new building at the site. So,
yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So John Keller, Health and Education.
Hi. First of all, I'd like to thank Brendan from the office staff for taking up some slack in the last few weeks. I was not well for a couple of weeks, and I just want to acknowledge his valuable role, Jesus, there. So we will have we're going to have hopefully a very substantive discussion on school reopening at our November meeting. And the reason we pushed it off, as I mentioned at full board, is the key data point. We have a nice survey already to go to principals and PAs, but the key data point is how many people have left our schools. And right now there is a lot of anecdotal evidence that that number is very high, that of families that just didn't show up this fall. And by the end of October, the principals have to report this number through. And so I do have a question. I was going to seek the guidance of the executive committee here, in line with Rick Egger's comment on earlier. In terms of surveying the schools, I can limit it to the schools in our zone, which would be 59, 116, Salk, the elementary school in the building was Salk, Baruch, River School. I think I've got them all. I might have missed one, but or I could extend the survey to all of the schools in zones covered by council members Kalos and Rivera, as well as, you know, those schools that are more fall in Keith's zone. So I just would, should I focus just on CB6 schools, which would probably be about a half dozen, or should I expand it to a group of schools that could be 15 or 20 schools, going up to PS6, PS290, 267, Yorkville East. I just would like some guidance from the committee on that. I mean, we'll have a robust discussion, whatever it is, but just looking for guidance from
yeah, I would say, in speaking with Rick's comment before, like, it needs to stay within the district. I mean, we get all sorts of questions on the temporary housing and shelter in CB5, and we've been trying to get that for people out of courtesy, but like, that's really CB5, and they're not
CB6 zone is what you're saying.
I mean, I don't know if anyone else has any, Kyle or Claude, Corinne, I don't know if anyone else has comments or have experience with the schools, the districts. Asia?
My suggestion is, John, is to do our district, but what you can do is reach out to the education committees at the other boards and see if they'd like to do a joint one and then expand it. But you have to remember these, like, it's going to be a Google survey that our office does.
I'm assuming. I'm just.
Yeah, I just don't know if like that increases the level of work, but it may also extend the time period because the other boards may want to add questions, or they could replicate the same type of report, and then you could combine all the information.
Yeah, maybe just inform them that. Excuse me, to kill a call here. Maybe just inform them that we're doing this, but keep the focus on the schools in our zone. I think is probably the prudent thing to do, because there are enough. I mean, there's enough schools, and anecdotally already there's a lot of stories around. And one of the reasons I pushed this off to November is I didn't want to have a discussion without data, and so we'll be able to have it. And in fact, if I have the data by the full board meeting, I might make a more robust report than usual to the full board meeting.
Good. And was anyone at John, did you attend, or Jesus, the DOE Boroughwide meeting today?
No, I did not.
Jesus, did someone from the office? I don't know.
I attended. There were lots of things going on, but notes will be released from that, and I can pass those along.
Yeah, I know there's, it's just a ever-changing landscape, so I'm sure by November 24th, wow, who knows what's in store for all of us.
It's very concerning, and yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Seema Shaw requests the floor.
Oh, Seema.
Hey, John, I just wanted to ask, I think I have no dog in the fight in terms of like which school districts to survey, but I'm curious what you're hoping to do with the data, because that might direct, who we want to expand the kind of quote unquote perimeter to, because, if it's asking for more resources because of XYZ reason, obviously scale will be an implication, whether it's pro scale or negative scale. So I don't know if you want to just think about what you're hoping to do with the information, and might kind of direct, how to best utilize that resource.
Yeah, my first objective is a robust and meaningful discussion, hopefully with parents and teachers from the school. And since we're going to have a whole month's notice, I'm going to make sure we have someone from DOE there to answer questions. My second objective would be if there is enough substantive data related to schools in our zone, that we would have, to Rick's point, you know, a zone-focused resolution of concern about one or more schools in the zone. We just don't have the data yet. But those would be my two objectives.
Is there another hand up, or?
Corinne Vanderdonk requests the floor.
Corinne.
Thanks. Thanks, John. I'm just wondering if you know anything, or if you have a quick update about the availability for Wi-Fi for students. You know, and maybe some of the fall off that you know you're anticipating might be because
that's one of the questions. I'm sorry, Corinne, I interrupted you. Pardon me.
No, you're right. You know, interrupt me. It's great. It's okay.
That's one of the questions in the survey, actually. And then I was going to get, you know, the DOE's perspective. I know there was some press today on Wi-Fi issues, but not specifically in any of our schools. But one of the questions on the survey is, you know, students in temporary housing, access to Wi-Fi, whether they've been given computers. I mean, these are all things that are in the survey.
Okay. I mean, I know in my son's school, School the Future, which is just outside of our.
Yeah, that's one of the schools I'm thinking of, actually.
You know, yeah, it's just outside of the out of the CB6, you know, but it's literally like, you know.
There are a lot of parents from CB6 who send their kids there, which is
yeah.
For
and you know, yeah. So the emails that we were getting was that they no longer were able to provide any devices to anyone. They were just out, and that was it. And yeah, so.
Yeah, well, this is all, unfortunately, this is what you're right. This is anecdotal. Anecdotally, I heard from another school where the guidance counselors were actually going out and distributing the devices, taking them to the homes of the parents. So this is really where it would be useful to get some real data. So we're not just having a.
Right.
It's troubling. We should be on it now, right? Not wait till November 24th.
No, that's right. That's why we're getting at it right now and looking at it right now. But in terms of having, and as I said, I hope to have a more robust report for the full board meeting in 2 weeks, because the end of November is too far away for this.
Yeah.
John, now if there's anything we can do, help with the homeless. You know, if housing and homeless can help in some way, let us know, because, you know, definitely the Wi-Fi issue comes into our, area.
And in fact, if we get to the point, if there's enough data that warrants a reso for the full board, you know, I'd like to co-sponsor, you know, have our two committees, as we've done in the past, you know, co-sponsor something.
Okay, good.
John, just to clarify, this survey it needs to be built, or it already has been built?
I've developed it and sent it around to the committee, and the feedback was very positive. So, but the main piece of feedback from people like Claude and others very familiar with how our schools work is that we won't have the information on how many kids actually showed up until the end of October, because that's when they have to make it available.
And as far as its dissemination is concerned, will you need the office's help on that, or will you handle that?
I will, now that I'm at the point where it's getting practical to think about it, yeah, I'll approach you and through Brendan, and let's figure out the best way to do it. It probably makes most sense to have it come from you guys than from me, but I can send the form out, but you guys are probably much better at that than I am.
Okay, I'll give Brendan a heads up to expect your communication.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. All right, is that it, John? Anything else?
No, I think that's, you know, we're.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, fine.
That's good. Okay, thank you. All right, so is there anything more on the agenda? Are we at old and new business, or? I think we're at the end. I did want to say old and new business. I started, some of you missed, but I started on public urination at the start of the call, and we're going to end on public urination. So as John's drinking his water, talking with Jesus, there are, and you all know, and I know Housing and Homeless Committee has worked on this before, getting some phone booths removed. We have a lot of phone booths in the district that don't have phones in them. We have a lot of phone booths that have phones in them, but the phones don't work. So I was planning on doing 311 calls, and I've done a few, but Jesus suggested that we just take pictures. I know obviously to grab the phone and see if it works or not is kind of gross, but if you're daring enough, please do that. But take a picture of the location, send the picture to the office, and we'll just really try to tackle that. So it's do it. And I think, am I correct in saying it's NYPD as well has to approve these removals?
Yes.
So if every committee, I'm not sure, it's really might be a transportation and public safety committee issue, because it is kind of a public safety. And again, like a lot of them just smell like urinals. They are urinals, and so and they're gross, they're dirty, and they take up a lot of sidewalk space. So it's a DOT issue too. They're responsible for the sidewalk. So if you can all do that, I don't know, maybe just even have that as an announcement at your committee meeting, Matt. That might be really helpful. But I'll certainly start doing that more and send it to the office. And Jesus, no 311, just send it to the office.
Just send it to the office.
Okay.
With
So we'll
a picture and exact location.
Yes. So please help me. And I don't know. And I don't know if any of you it's just a pet peeve, and we barely have sidewalks in most of the district. So any precious, sidewalk space being taken up by these, empty, useless pieces of, old phone booths is a waste of space. So with that, anything else, old or new business? Oh, someone else, Adam, you have your hand raised.
So what's the ask? So you just want us to take photos and map where the phone booths are, or do you want us to describe the state?
I don't think Jesus wants to see that. You could just say.
I'm sure the photo will be telling enough, and just send it.
It's a good one,
Send it to no sonnets, no limericks necessary, but send it to help@cbsix.org. help@cbsix.org. Please don't send it to office. Please don't send it to individuals. Send it to help. It helps us track those a little better.
Great.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Old or new business?
Kyle would like the floor.
Oh, Kyle.
Yeah, I just before we end, just want to thank you again for your leadership over the past couple of years. Big shoes to fill, of course, but happy that you're still on the board to help us through a lot of these issues. So I know it's your final meeting, so just wanted to thank you for everything that you've done for us.
Woo-hoo, final meeting. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yay. Okay, I'm going to go have dinner. Is meeting adjourned? Are we good? Oh, wait, no, I'm roll call. Do we have to do another roll call? No.
That's only for
I was free. Okay, thank you. Okay, good night, everybody. Meeting adjourned.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.